This is a video for us to go over your composite checkpoint test that you took last week. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to solve this and the explanation and steps that I wanted you to go ahead and follow. So the first thing we want to go ahead and do is, according to our steps, we want to cut and identify our shapes. Now there's a couple of ways that you can cut this, but this is the way I'm going to cut it. Doesn't matter if you did it this way or not, you should get the same answer. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it going this way. And the shapes that I'm going to identify are, I'll do them in different colors. I have a triangle right here. I have a smaller rectangle right here. And I also noticed that this smaller rectangle is the same. So I have two small rectangles. I have a large rectangle right here. And last but not least, I have a semicircle or a half circle right here. So there I've cut and identified each of my shapes. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve by using the formulas for the areas for each of these shapes, and then at the end I'm going to add them together. So I'll start with triangle first. The formula for the area of a triangle is area equals half base times height, or base times height divided by 2. I definitely want to make sure I have the correct dimensions of the triangle. So I know that the triangle has a base of 6 and a height of 8. Those are the two dimensions that I'm going to need. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug those numbers into my formula. My base being 6 and my height is 8. So I'll do 6 times 8 and divide it by 2. 6 times 8 is 48. Dividing that by 2, because it's a triangle, would give me 24. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that answer in pink so that I know I need to come back to it later and I'm going to use it later. The next one I'm going to go ahead and do are the two small rectangles up here. I know these are similar for two reasons. First, I know that they have the same dimension on top, which is 4. And I also know that the dimension or the height going up and down is the same, so that'll be 2. So something I need to keep in mind is that I have 2 of these guys. So I have a rectangle with a base of 4 and a height of 2. The formula for the area of a rectangle is area equals base times height. My base being 4, my height being 2. 4 times 2 is 8, so that's for one of these guys. So I could say it's for this one right here. So I need to make sure I do 8 plus 8. That'll give me 16 for both of them. So I got to keep in mind that's for 2 of them, for this one and for this one. Again, I'm going to highlight it in pink so that I know I'm going to need it for later at the end of my problem. The next one I'm going to do is that green rectangle, and I'm going to do them over here. My green rectangle becomes a little bit funky because I'm not 100% sure what the dimensions are. I know that they give me a 3 up here, but that's only counting that small section. So what I'll need to do is use this 4 and bring it down. So that accounts for there. And bring this 4 and bring it down. So it accounts for that part. So altogether, this line going straight across, in order to find that, I would need to add 4 plus 3 plus 4, which gives me 11. My height, I also need to figure out. Let me put that base here, 11 and 11. My height, I also need to figure out, because as of right now, they gave us that the height of the triangle was 8. That goes from the very tippy top to the very bottom. But remember, we already counted this guy, so we don't need to count it anymore in our height for that rectangle, because it doesn't go up that far. It only goes up to that point. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to take this 8 and subtract this part of that rectangle from the purple one above. So I'll take 8 and I'll subtract the dimension, which is 2, getting it from this side. 8 minus 2 is 6, so that tells me that the height from here to here would be 6. So my height for this rectangle is 6. Again, my formula for a rectangle, like we stated before, is area equals base times height. My base being 11 and my height being 6. So I'm going to multiply 11 times 6 and I'd get 66. Highlighting it pink so that I know I need it for later. So far we have, let me check, we have the dimensions for and the areas for the triangle, the 2 purple rectangles, and 1 green rectangle. So the last one I'm going to need to do is the semicircle. The semicircle looks something like this. And I need to go ahead and figure out the diameter because they give us one line going straight across, and that's our diameter. What I notice is that on the opposite end of this composite shape, we're given an 8, which is the same length as this diameter. So I can go ahead and write that this diameter of this circle is 8. I'm going to go ahead and label that here. Now I'm going to go ahead and write the formula for the area of a circle. For the area of a circle, it's A equals pi times the radius squared. Because I'm given the diameter for this circle, I need to go ahead and find the radius. We know from our past lessons that radius is half the diameter. So I need to figure out what is half of this semicircle. 8 divided by 2, or 8 cut in half, we know is 4. So that's the measurement for our radius, is 4. So I'm going to take that 4 and I'm going to substitute it in for where it says radius. Pi I know is 3.14. That's the estimated value that we use. Times, we said 4 for our radius squared. I know that 4 squared means 4 times 4. There's 1, there's 2. 4 times 4 gives us 16. So I'm going to use that instead of the 4 squared since I solved it already. So I'm going to do 3.14 times 16. I'm going to do that on my calculator real quick. And I'd get an answer of 50.24. But we're not done yet. Remember, this formula is trying to find the area of a full circle. If I had a full circle and tried to find the area of all of it, that's what we're trying to find. However, we're not given a full circle right here. We're given a half circle. So it's up to us to go ahead and figure out what is half of 50.24. You can either cut this in half or divide by 2, kind of like what we do with the triangle. When I divide that by 2, my answer would be 25.12. Again, highlighting that in pink so that I know I need it. Now I'm going to go back and check. Did I find the area for all of them? I got the triangle, the green rectangle, the 2 purples, and now I have the semicircle. So those are all good. The very last thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and take the numbers that I highlighted in pink for each one of our shapes areas, and we're going to add those together for a composite area. So I have 24 from the triangle, 16 from the purple rectangles, 66 for the green rectangle, and 25.12 for our semicircle. Let me go ahead and erase this so I have enough room. Nothing is being added to our decimal, so that's just going to stay the same at 0.12. 4 plus 6 is 10. Plus 6 would give us 16. Plus 5 would give us 21. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 6 is 11, plus 2 is 13. So your grand answer for this composite shape would be 131.12. I don't give you any dimensions, but we could say it's centimeters squared for our area.